rematch on the cards?
Yeah, definitely. I've activated the rematch clause, so yeah.
Here we go. Is it like you don't get on, do you?
I know, we're best mate. Well, for the cameras.
You see, but you do see a lot of, you know, like for example, like the other night with Tyson and Usyk and Joe Joyce, and they all got up, and you know obviously, you know, they're not best mates, you know, but you can see that they're having a bit of a chat about how it's going to pan out and what's going to happen. Is there animosity like real between the pair of you, or is there respect? is there?
No, we don't get on. We don't get on. She's not my cup of tea.
Okay. It's just two fighters going at it, though, aren't you?
I don't think I'm hers.
I love the way you talk real. I love it.
So, how do you beat her next time round?
Going from the last fight,
yeah.
I think I can outbox her.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. Savannah Marshall has already found a way to lose going into the rematch, thinking that she could somehow outbox Claressa Shields. Now look, Savannah Marshall is an amazing fighter. She's an amazing fighter. But after watching the fight between her and Claressa Shields, I don't even think this is up for discussion about who's the better boxer. Now, I will say this. Savannah Marshall, if she, you know, keeps that jab out, uses her range, maybe she can make the fight was good, but I had Shields like winning 9-3. But if Savannah Marshall fights big, you know, tries to keep Shields on the edge and the end of that stick, then maybe, you know, the fight can be you just never know. But to come and say she can outbox Shields, I mean, doesn't matter if you're a Savannah Marshall fan or a Shields fan. So when someone says they're going to outbox someone, first thing comes to my mind is someone who's going to be floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. And Savannah Marshall is not the kind of boxer who gets in and out, who uses lateral movement. She's not, you know, catching, shooting. She's not slipping and countering. You know, she's more or less kind of plodding along and letting power shots go. She has this herky-jerky movement, like we said in other videos, that resembles kind of Tyson Fury. Excuse me. That resembles Tyson Fury, right? But for her to come out and say she plans on outboxing or thinking she can outbox Claressa Shields, to me, she's already, in my opinion, found a way to lose, because she's not going to outbox Claressa Shields. I mean, it just doesn't matter.
Right, okay.
I believe just changing the tactics.
What was your tactics in the first fight?
Go out there, sit on her chest and make her work.
Right.
But obviously...
You found out she had plenty in her, right?
Yeah, she did, more than what I thought she would.
And what Claressa Shields has in her toolbox is always going to be more than what Savannah Shields has in her toolbox. Okay? Don't get me wrong. Savannah Marshall, if she fights the right fight, I mean, look, stars can line up, right? In boxing, it's not about who's the best boxer, right? The best boxer doesn't always win. But 9 times out of 10, the best boxer wins. But it's really about the fighter who boxes the best on that night. And when you look at Claressa Shields, she's consistent. She's just special, all right? But Savannah Marshall getting in there, just like she's figured out some things about Shields and what Shields brings to the table, Claressa Shields has figured out some things about Savannah Marshall as far as what she brings to the table and what she doesn't bring to the table. So when Savannah Marshall is sitting back, making her adjustments, getting ready to reattack, Claressa Shields is doing the same thing. And you better believe Claressa Shields knows the one thing Claressa Shields has to really make sure that she keeps, that she works on and make sure that she's better in this area is conditioning. Because if Claressa Shields, for some reason, doesn't come in a condition, which she always is in, peak condition, right? That means she'll slow just enough to where Savannah Marshall, who was getting to Shields a little bit, can get to her more. And that's where we can see problems. But again, I just don't see Shields or Marshall coming into the fight out of shape. And I definitely don't see Shields coming in less shape than Savannah Marshall, knowing that would give Marshall a huge advantage.
And I've got to say, judging by the shirt, dream to do it at St James.
That's the plan.
Is that the plan?
This isn't me normal Saturday attire.
No. Jeff Stelling is not, I repeat, not happy.
But yeah, I know Sky are really keen, and Boxer, to get the rematch at St James's Park in the summer.
Yeah, amazing.
You were there a couple of weeks ago, weren't you?
Yeah, the women were playing against Burnley, I think. Well, the women were playing.
Yeah.
30,000 attended. Wow. Unbelievable.
So if that happens, when will that be? We think like next summer maybe?
Yeah, so it'll be in the summer, obviously, so it doesn't clash with the football season.
So have you got to wait?
Now, what Savannah Marshall is talking about here, the rematch with Claressa Shields, right? Because she's activated her rematch clause, Savannah Marshall has, and about having a rematch at St. James Park, somewhere out there in the UK. The bottom line is this. So, this is where Savannah Marshall may have a point, right? Yeah, she didn't earn the right. Savannah Marshall did not earn the right to have the rematch in the UK. She lost. Simple. Okay? Claressa Shields has the upper hand as far as where she wants to have the fight. And Claressa Shields is going to have the final say. And that's how it works. At the same time, this is where boxing being a business, you can see where Shields ends up kind of giving in to having the rematch back out in the UK. When you look at it, the amount of people who came out to watch Shields against Savannah Marshall, a huge turnout. Was it 20,000 plus for women's boxing? Yeah, the undercards were stacked, but for women's boxing, the first time ever an all women's card, right? Now, if Shields wants to have that rematch in the States, where in the world is Shields going to have a rematch with Savannah Marshall in the United States? Damn sure not doing nothing in Flint, Michigan. Go to Vegas, maybe. Madison Square Garden, maybe. But at the end of the day, when you look at maybe getting a 12 to 13,000 fan turnout, and then you look at doing it in the UK and getting 30 to 52,000 fans to turn out. Okay, so now you're talking about doubling and tripling the live gate. Okay? That's a lot of money. You know, a lot of money. We're talking millions. So I think Savannah Marshall, she may get her way, but it's not because she earned the right to dictate where the fight's going to be held. It's just because when you look at the fight economically, it's all about money, right? Boxing, this is prize fighting. So boxers are going to go where they can make the most money because there's a short, there's like the shelf life for a boxer is very short. So they don't have time to be playing around. They need to get as much money as they possibly can in a short period of time. And a good example of somebody doing that is Bud Crawford. We know Bud Crawford will jump at a quick bag, won't he? Anyway.
And have you got to wait for that fight in order to be able to fight Claressa Shields? So if you basically go and have another fight, then that potentially could damage the chances of your fight with Claressa.
Yeah, definitely, because there's all different factors. You could get injured.
It's a long time, isn't it, for you to be out of the ring?
It is, but look, I've a lot more time to work on.
Anywhere else? Where on your bucket list? Anywhere else?
Exactly. I might get a couple of trips in before then.
Yeah.
Okay, so Claressa Shields, never short for words. She definitely has something to say, and she says, "I don't know why she thinks she can outbox me. That's the first thing that got my attention. She can't box. Well, I mean, Clarissa's qualified to say that. Just a big power puncher. Well, power matters, right? And at Sky Sports and at Boxer, we're not fighting in the UK. I whooped her. It's time for her to get her traveling boots on and come to the USA. That's the only way the rematch is going to get made." Now, Claressa Shields isn't wrong about a few things here, but the one thing where you could tell it's just emotion talking is where she's saying Savannah needs to come to the USA. I honestly feel that at the end of the day, this fight, like the rematch is going to be huge, but I'm not so sure the support that Claressa Shields is, that's overdue, right? The type of support Claressa Shields should be receiving is long overdue. She still doesn't get it. And we could talk about her being, vocal and doesn't have she's not as polished as maybe some people would like as far as trying to market her. But to me, why are we going to look at those things and use those qualities and traits to not give her the respect she deserves and give her the pay she deserves and ensure she's marketed the way she deserves? Look, once Claressa Shields came out those Olympics with that first gold medal, she should have been all over the place. She should have been a household name. To do it a second time, should have been a household name. Still not like that. To go and be undisputed at several weight classes, first time for that ever to happen for a woman, and then have belts in all them different divisions, should be a household name. But she's not. Very unfortunate. Got $1 million payday. First time. Yo, look, I don't understand why in the world Claressa Shields isn't getting the respect she deserves. So in addition to all of that, Claressa Shields, she out here fighting MMA. Now, I don't know how many of you have accidentally, stumped your toe, right? Not something you want to do again. That shit hurts. Imagine having someone try to kick you in your face, knee you, break your arm, right? Choke you out. Take their forearm, put it across your face, your mouth and nose, and squeeze, feel like your face is cracking. That no normal human being can endure that kind of pain. And Claressa Shields opts to go jump in MMA to just prove that she's not just the baddest woman in boxing, she's the baddest woman in MMA. Now, MMA is going to be an uphill battle for her. While she's on her feet, she can handle her business, but as soon as it goes to the ground, it is what it is. But Claressa Shields is showing that she's willing to learn, and she has more self-belief and confidence than a lot of fighters, male and female. And she still doesn't get the credit she deserves. So, in my opinion, the fact that she hasn't been getting the credit she deserves, the respect she deserves, if the fight ends up in the UK, I don't think it's because she's not getting the respect or credit she deserves. I think some sensible heads are going to actually be able to get to her and say, look, you have a very short shelf life. Let's go out here, instead of making maybe 1 million in the States, 1.5, take it to the UK, bigger stadium, and maybe now you get a $5 million payday. You see? And when you look at that, I get it. I don't know what Shields is going to do. But for me, I'll tell you what, as much as I want family to come see the fight, as much as I like to be at home, I would probably want to have that fight over in the UK. Because 1 million versus 5 million, especially when, now I could be wrong, but if I listen to Claressa Shields talk, Claressa Shields isn't sitting on no damn $15, $20 million. She's not really getting her money up now. But if Claressa Shields was sitting on 20, 25 million, then why go all the way out to the UK when you're already set for life? But it doesn't sound like she's at that point. So I could see her going out there, taking the fight in the UK, making really, really good money. And then she's kind of more in that zone where she can opt to just have fights stateside and not worry about fighting somewhere else where she can triple her purse, quadruple her purse, okay? So that being said, Claressa Shields, Savannah Marshall, looks like they're gonna have the rematch. But it's my understanding Claressa Shields has an obligation to this MMA brand that she signed with. I can't call the name off the top of my head, but I know that she signed to one of these MMA outfits, and she has to go out there and fight per the contract. So not sure when she's going to do it. I did a video on this where I covered all of it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know Shields supposed to be back in that octagon soon. And then after that, she'll probably look to get in there with Savannah Marshall. But that being said, we will see what happens. I'm sure there are people who are saying Savannah Marshall is going to beat Shields. I did a video on how I think the rematch will go and how I think the fight went. And a lot of people who watch the video, they only they hear what they want to hear. They have selective hearing. But I said it then, I'll say it again. Savannah Marshall showed that with the right game plan, she could possibly edge out a win against Shields. But then again, that's easier said than done. Shields proves time and time again that she's just special. And like I said a moment ago, unless Shields, especially if it's in the States, and Shields is distracted, is, not putting in the work like she normally does, and her conditioning diminishes somewhat, Savannah Marshall will have a really great chance on getting that win. But it's going to require Claressa Shields to start to fatigue around that 8th and 9th round and for Marshall to really pick it up. And I just don't see it happening. Shields, you just don't come out of the Olympics with 2 gold medals, do what she's done as a professional, go over to the MMA world, just to come now, get your first $1 million payday and decide and think that you made it. Now, Claressa Shields has a chip on her shoulder for a reason. So I'm looking forward to the fight. I really hope to make Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano make that rematch as well. Those 2 fights, I tell you, were probably the most entertaining fights all year. Out of all the fights that we watched, although we've seen some guys get knocked out, and but forget that. As far as the value, the entertainment value, right, and feeling good about the money you spent to watch a fight, that damn Katie Taylor Serrano, this Savannah Marshall, Claressa Shields, those fights had me on the edge of my seat more than watching the other fights this year from the men. Like, I was really I was cussing a lot watching those fights. But more in excitement. There was a lot of old shit going on from the seat while we're watching it in my house. But that being said, let's see what happens. Y'all be cool. I got Shields winning the rematch. Anything can happen, but it's just hard for me to go against Shields. Shields is just something special. And sometimes you just have those people who have that kind of style where you just can't beat them. You look at Juan Manuel and Manny Pacquiao. Manuel just had that style, man, and it gave Pacquiao, nightmares. And it is what it is, But that being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents, and I am in the breeze.